Okay, we've just been chatting to Winston Peters, who was coy about the processes necessary to induct someone as a New Zealand First MP. He was quoted over the weekend, though, saying our next guest would make a seamless transition into being a National Party member and candidate. His name is Stuart Nash, formerly a Labour MP and indeed a Labour Cabinet Minister. So you're a Labour Cabinet Minister, you're from a Labour family, Nash is a Labour family. You have a bump like many politicians. You resign, you leave, you go and do something else, and then you pop up again in Palmerston North, of all places, at the New Zealand First Conference. Why get back into it? Because you've had a bruising run.
I haven't made a final decision to get back into it, but what I have said is that...
Stuart, can we just stop with that? No one believes that. Winston says it's seamless and there's a process to go through. You've given a speech at their bloody conference. No need to be coy here.
The reason I gave the speech at the conference is your listeners will know that I have an immense amount of respect for New Zealand First. I have an immense amount of respect for Winston Peters. He's one of the great men of New Zealand politics over history, not just our generation. He's a man who believes and who works really hard, and he does what's right for New Zealand. And he's one of these guys that when he's overseas, he's going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And the thing I like at the moment is New Zealand First is the party of pragmatism. I hear all these people going, New Zealanders want a vision. They want to know where we want to be in 2050. Well, my 25-year-old son is going to be, 40, 45 in 2050. He wants to know what New Zealand's going to look like in 2026. He wants to know if there's going to be jobs. Well, he's doing a building apprenticeship, all power to him. My point is we're losing people because politicians have lost the ability to connect with New Zealand, and New Zealand First is the only party that is actually bucking that trend and filling town halls in the way that politicians have for generations.
And you want to be part of that?
Well, if I was going to go back into politics, this is what I want to be part of.
You already are back in politics, Mr. Nash. Let's be frank.
Let me tell you the reason why, Sean. Let me tell you the reason why. I don't think you will ever meet a former cabinet minister who doesn't say to you in a moment of honesty, yeah, of course I didn't achieve everything that I wanted to while I was in cabinet. There was always unfinished business. And I'm more than most, and having stepped back from politics, because I was a list MP from 2008, 2011, didn't get back, didn't give it a shot, didn't really know. Then I spent nearly 6 years in cabinet. I've come back and I've seen a lot of the stuff that's going on and thought to myself, I know how I can make this better. I know how I can drive the sort of change that benefits New Zealand and New Zealanders. The only way you can do that is if you're sitting around the cabinet table. And actually the only way you can do that is if you're sitting around the cabinet table with a party like New Zealand First that isn't sort of, that isn't moribund or...
Just slow down, Mr. Nash. So we've gone from saying you're not sure you want to be a New Zealand First candidate, and now you're talking about being a New Zealand First cabinet minister.
What I'm talking about is this is how you affect change in the country,
right?
And I love and I have a whole lot of ideas around what we need to do to drive the sort of change that we're not seeing at the moment. And New Zealand First is the party that's articulating the sort of vision that I like.
All right. Jim has written in the question, what are the three things Nash would change right now?
Okay, well, first of all, I'd put in an accelerated depreciation regime. Now, I don't want to get too technical, but at the moment, our assets are depreciated at their physical life as opposed to their economic life, right?
Yeah.
So that means that we've got a whole lot of companies that can't afford to invest in plant and machinery to drive productivity in a way they should.
Yeah.
I'd change that immediately. I am really big on law and order. People know that I was a Minister of Police. I would give the police sweeping powers. There is something called the proceeds of crime. I had a big argument with Kitty Allen over this. She wanted a limit to be 30,000. I said it should be zero. Give the cops the ability to go after these guys in a way they currently haven't.
And take everything off them.
Take everything off them. And they've got to prove that they didn't get this through the proceeds of crime, right?
Yeah.
Through crime.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd actually do, and this is a little bit esoteric, but it's something I worked really, really hard on, I would actually get our ETS sorted. So, I was the Minister of Forestry. I did a lot of work in this space, a lot of really good work, actually. And it's critical for our farmers and those living in rural New Zealand, that we get these settings right. The last thing we want to see is plantation forestry, radiata pine on our productive farmlands. This government hasn't quite got that right. I had a plan to do
Do you
this,
believe we should leave the Paris Accord?
I think we should try and renegotiate. We're in the process of probably meeting our first obligations. The thing is, Sean, is that we're a country that stands for something. It's the reason why we get a premium on a lot of our global products, including tourism. If we seem to really go hard against this, then there is reputational risk. But let's see if we can renegotiate.
Okay. Do you believe that man-made carbon emissions are causing climate change that will destroy the planet as we know it?
I don't know if it'll destroy the planet, but I do believe that man-made carbon emissions are altering climate across the globe.
In a good way or a bad way?
Well, we have a look at the moment. You look anywhere, open the paper at least once a week. There's an extreme weather event that's causing flooding.
Yeah, there've always been extreme weather events. The indications are there are no more than
they're getting more.
We seem to be, but we're not. And all statistics, the proper statistics show we're not.
Well, you and I are looking at different statistics.
No, we aren't. You're looking at newspapers, and there are more people on the earth living in places that get affected by extreme weather.
Oh, of course there is. But what we are seeing is these more extreme weather events occurring at a frequency that we just haven't seen before.
No.
I've
got to just fact check you there, Stuart. We're not.
Well, we must be looking at different data.
No, we're not. I'm looking at the data.
And I'm not talking about newspapers. There's a famous Oscar Wilde quote which I love, and it's that man uses statistics like a drunk man uses a lamppost for support, not illumination.
Can I just make sure you're free of all the Labour Party stuff? What's a woman? What is a woman?
Am I allowed? Well, last time I said something like this, I got in trouble. A woman is a person with a pair of.
Okay, I think that covers it. That may suggest you certainly have left
Am
the
I
Labour
wrong?
Party.